Okay, in terms of braking, I also have a computer here for the normal braking and a computer here for the alternate braking. You can see for normal braking, I have a green supply. And for the alternate braking, I have a yellow hydraulic supply. If the green supply is lost, I lose normal braking, but I have the yellow supply to provide me with alternate braking. So I have a brake steering control unit where it stores the auto brake and the anti-skid functions, and an alternate brake control unit which has the same functions. I can have auto brake and anti-skid in alternate braking as well. However, what I want to talk to you about here with this brake steering and control unit is that it comes, although it's one box, it has two channels. Okay, it has two channels with one channel in command always, so that the other one is in hot standby. Basically, they are there to provide control for the anti-skid and the auto brake functions. So they operate the normal servo valves or alternate servo valves, depending on which pressure is available, the green or the yellow, in terms of braking. Okay. Now, here's one I ask all my students during a type course. So, where's the indication for normal braking? There is no indication for normal braking. Just like your car, when you brake in your car, you don't open the window to see the road if it's slowing down. Yeah, you brake in normal situation. You brake and the car stops. That's normal braking. However, if you're in alternate braking, in other words, the normal braking is not working properly, in other words, the green system is not available, the pilots have to know. And the pilots, the way they know is this triple pressure indicator here. Okay. Once this starts working, this will only work if supplied by the yellow supply. Okay. It's important for the pilots to know that, because also on this yellow supply, which is the standby, is an accumulator, which is if I've got no hydraulics now. So I've lost the green, the yellow takes over. I've lost the yellow, but my yellow I have some power stored in an accumulator for 6 braking functions. Yeah, and then the accumulator is depleted of nitrogen. But I have to know that my accumulator is pressurized by the yellow system. Okay, and all of that is working through this so-called triple pressure indicator. Now, remember we said the landing gear lever determines every time the landing gear lever goes up, changes LGCIU channel. Every time the landing gear lever goes down, changes the BSCU channel. Okay, so that every time gear up, LGCIU, gear down, BSCU. So every time the landing gear is cycled, yeah, the computers are also cycled, so that then we're not using one all the time and the other one's just sleeping there for years and years and years. So every leg, they alternate, so they keep nice and active and healthy. In terms of steering, I'm using the yellow system with a pressure going through this hydraulic block, and the hydraulic block has equal pressure on one side and to the other side. Now, depending on an electrical signal from the BSCU, I can divert more or less pressure to one or the other side of the actuator. And the one that has more pressure will push, because this pressure is higher than this pressure. Then this actuator will move in this direction, and if by moving in this direction, will turn the wheels in the opposite direction. Okay. Similarly, if I want to steer either through the pedals or through the the hand wheels. Okay, an electrical input here, goes into the computer, makes a calculation, and tells electrically this hydraulic block, put more hydraulic on this side. If there's more hydraulic on this side, this will move that way, and the landing gear will move. The nose landing gear will move in the opposite direction. At any time, okay, I can electrically disconnect the steering by putting this towing lever in the tow position to tow for maintenance. For example, if I want to deactivate the steering, the operation of the function of this here. And I have a landing gear panel here where I can actually completely deactivate the anti-skid, okay, and the nose wheel steering. I use this switch also to cycle the channels. If I have a problem with the braking or the steering, I can use this switch as a reset to cycle the two channels of this box here. In terms of indications, okay, I have. Now you're going to say ground spoilers. Why have I got ground spoilers? Spoilers are flight controls. Why am I spoiling my flight controls on my wheels page? And this is a bit of an idiosyncrasy with the Airbus. There are certain things that are duplicated because the ground spoilers are used on the ground only to brake to stop the aircraft. They are indicated here as well as on the flight control page when they're used for lift dumping or for the rolling. Okay, so you will see this picture in a minute of these spoilers. You'll see them again in a minute in the flight controls when we get there. Okay, so we have these are the landing gear doors, okay, which are showing green, and it's the same old principle. Anything that's green is good. Okay, the two triangles per leg are indicative of the landing gear control and interface units. So the two brains. Okay, so I have LGCIU1 and LGCIU2. They're both green. Okay, and they're both showing 3 greens, which means landing gear down and locked, for example. If the LGCIU had a problem, one of the two triangles, whichever one was defective, would indicate amber in a different color, indicating, hey, my brain has fried. Okay. Now, I also have an indication of the tire pressures. You can see 195, 195, 195, 195. This is the tire pressures from that tire pressure indication system. And I also have brake temperatures indicated. Okay, I don't have any brake temperatures on the nose wheel because there's no brakes installed on the nose wheel. They are only on the main landing gear, and therefore I'm indicating the brake temperatures as well. All right. Now, in an emergency situation, let's say, for example, I lost all my displays here. Okay, I lost my ECAM displays, both upper and lower, and I put the landing gear down, and I don't know if the landing gear is down. I have a separate third indication for my landing gears here, which is hardwired. Okay, via LGCIU1, but it's a separate circuit to show me to connect the proc switches of the landing gear down locks, proc switches, to indicate when my landing gear is down and locked, so I can perform a landing because I've lost all the electrical power. I've got no more screens, but I have the provisions of this panel here to be able to show the landing gear. And remember those brake fans? Okay, the brake fans, there's no automatic function of the brake fans. When the brake fans, when the brakes go above a certain temperature, there is a hot indication here and an ECAM alert that the brakes are hot. And the pilot will then just push this button here to switch the brake fans on the ground to initiate the cooling process of the brake fans. All right. So the rudder pedals here, they are adjustable and they're used for steering. Okay. They're used for steering. If we push the pedals, the heel part of the pedals, they're used to steer. And they're used for brakes if we use the toe end of the pedals to press them as brakes. Okay. They work in normal, no indication, or in alternate. Okay. And there is also ultimate braking through the park brake. Okay. If I needed to, I'd work the parking brake in an emergency.